Hey, what's up guys? Today we're taking a look at Valorant patch notes 2.03. We've got some big changes for Reyna, a few small buffs for Yoru, and we got the new Escalation game mode. So starting off with Reyna, we have a couple of interesting changes here. The first is that the maximum Devour and Dismiss charges has been reduced from 4 to 2. Slain enemies that Reyna has damaged in the last 3 seconds now drop soul orbs, even if Reyna does not land the killing shot. And the cost of Devour and Dismiss charges has been increased from 100 to 200. So these are some really significant changes. I'm going to break them down one by one. The first change, which is that her Devour and Dismiss charges have been reduced from 4 to 2. This is a nerf. Now, even though they're basically cutting them in half, I don't think it's a huge nerf, but it is still significant. And this is going to hopefully help reduce her pub stomping Smurf playstyle, where players are just one-man arming through the entire enemy team, taking duel after duel. Now you get only 2 charges of either your heal or your dismiss, which is a lot more balanced. And I think at the high levels of play, it's still going to be really strong on her because you don't really get that many options to go kill after kill after kill against high level players. One other small effect of this change that I quite like is the fact that this is going to make her ultimate way more important. The reason being that when you're in her ultimate, she gets infinite charges of both her Devour and her Dismiss. So even though you only have 2 now, if you have your ultimate, you can still pop and go for the 1v5, 1v6 even, and heal after every single kill. So I like that this is making her ultimate a lot more important to her kit and makes you think a little bit more about when you want to use it. Now the next change, in order to compensate for this, is a really nice buff. And basically this boils down to the fact that you get your soul orbs now on assists from teammates. So all I have to do is damage somebody, and if they die within 3 seconds of you damaging them, then you get the soul orb. And this is going to be really nice because you won't have to fight your teammates for kills. It'll help alleviate those situations where you and a teammate are spraying somebody down and they just happen to get the last bullet and now you're really low on health and you can't heal or get out. So even though she's losing half of her charges, it's really nice that she does get access to those charges a lot more easily. Now the last change, they've raised the cost of the charges from 100 to 200. Interestingly enough, this actually lowers her overall full buy for abilities because now it's 200 for 2 Leers and then 200 for the last charge because you get 1 free charge every round. So her ability full buy price is now actually 600 instead of 700. But it's not really a buff because the reason the price is lower is they've reduced the ceiling, or they've reduced the number of things you have to buy. But either way, it is kind of nice to be able to full buy your abilities for 100 less credits. But that's not a very significant change, I think. The main place you're going to feel it is on pistol rounds, where that extra 100 credits on the Devour and Dismiss charges makes you probably not get 2 of them, depending on which guns you buy. Now, Yoru has gotten a few very small changes. I know they said they were going to buff him, but these changes feel almost inconsequential to me. The first is that his gate crash, which is his E, the teleport, it now displays the range at which the tether can be seen by enemies while moving on the minimap, and the range that enemies are able to hear the audio of gate crash is now also displayed on the minimap. So basically when you throw your teleport out, you'll be able to see on the minimap if somebody is close enough to see it or to hear it, and you'll see if basically where enemies can hear it from. So this is, I guess, a tiny buff. It's not really a buff, it's just a quality of life to make it easier for people to know when their teleport might have been detected. They've also done some changes to the Dimensional Drift, which is his ultimate. So while in his ultimate, Yoru's minimap is now visible. Enemies within Yoru's vision range, while in his ultimate, are now revealed to ally minimaps as well, so you can spot people while in the ultimate. And the Dimensional Drift can no longer body block enemies. So this is pretty good, but I think you're still going to want to be pinging enemies out while you're in your ultimate just to give your team really clear info about where they are, and so they don't have to look away at their minimap in the heat of battle. Brimstone and Phoenix also got some small tweaks to their mollies. They say the audio of the incendiary's lingering fire zone will be easier to hear when other actions and sounds occur nearby. And exact same thing for Phoenix. And I think this is honestly a tiny nerf to them, I think. Not like really significant, but it just means that if you throw the molly down in smokes, it's probably going to be a lot easier to hear that it's there as opposed to before. Now next we're moving on to the weapon updates. First up is the Marshal. The movement speed when zoomed in is now at 90% of unzoomed movement speed. Previously, the zoomed movement speed was 76% of unzoomed. So now there's almost no movement penalty when you're scoped in with the Marshal, which is pretty strong in my opinion. That's a very significant change. They've also reduced the price by 100 credits, so it's now flat 1,000. And they've increased the zoom magnification from 2.5x to 3.5x. I'm not 100% sure I like the zoom magnification, but I was trying it out a little bit in the new mode, and it didn't feel too terrible, and I was hitting my shots, so it's probably going to be okay. The main thing is the movement speed buff, because being able to almost be at full speed while you're scoped in is very, very strong for a sniper rifle. Next, for the Stinger, they've made adjustments both to the full auto and the burst fire. So first, they have increased the price by 100 credits, so it's now 1100 credits. The full auto fire rate has been reduced from 18 to 16. The full auto fire now reaches max spread at bullet 4 instead of bullet 6. And they've adjusted the pitch, which is the vertical recoil curve for full auto. The recoil climbs more aggressively past the third bullet. These changes, I could definitely feel them when I was trying out the Stinger. It felt significantly nerfed, and I'm not sure if this is going to be enough to put it completely out of the meta, if people are never going to touch this again, or if it's still going to be good, but it's not going to be near as oppressive as before. We're going to have to see, but I can say just from playing a little bit, I definitely felt a difference when playing with this version of the Stinger compared to before. Now, they've also adjusted the burst fire. They have made the pitch, which is again the vertical recoil, to be more aggressive after the first burst. They've added more error on bursts after the first one, and they've improved the recovery time on burst mode from 0.45 to 0.4. Finally, the Frenzy is also getting a price increase from 400 to 500. This is only a 100 credit increase, but it is very significant because usually you're buying the Frenzy on pistol rounds where you only have 800 credits. So this is going to mean that you cannot buy Frenzy and armor anymore. If you want a Frenzy, can't get your armor. And it's probably also going to affect ability buys with the Frenzy as well for most of the agents. Just 100 credits alone on pistol round is a huge difference. Now the new mode, which is basically gun game, it's called Escalation, is here. This is a quick, fast-paced 5v5 game mode where you must race through progressively less lethal loadouts for your team. Now, they have different loadouts per match to match, but the loadout progression is always from something very lethal like rifles, the Raze rocket, etc., all the way down to something really hard to get kills with, which is like your knife, your classic, your shorty, stuff like that. Now, you can read the description here, but they didn't do a really good job explaining it in the patch notes, in my opinion. So after playing it, the way it works is it's 5v5 with respawns, and your team has to get a certain number of kills with each weapon to progress to the next tier of weapon, and you can see both teams' progress at the top. Now, each individual player also has to get a kill with each tier of weapon in order to advance to the next. So let's say my team starts out with the Raze rockets, and we get enough kills together to get to the next weapon, which is the Phantom. But if I haven't gotten any kills with the Raze rocket launcher by the time my team is on the Phantom, I will actually stay on the rocket launcher until I get one kill with it, at which point I'll be bumped up to the Phantom. And then I have to get at least one kill with the Phantom to go up to the next one, and so on and so forth. So that aspect of the game was a little bit confusing for my group. In the first couple of matches, we weren't really sure why people were still stuck on older weapons. But I kind of like the aspect of it because it keeps the weapons fresh. There's always like 2, 3, maybe even sometimes 4 different types of weapons in play. And then once you reach the final weapon, it's usually a knife, but sometimes it's not. You have to get a certain number of kills with that weapon in order to win the match. Now, there's not a whole lot more to say about this mode, but I can say from trying out a couple matches today already, it is a really fun mode. I was having an absolute blast playing it, and I think comparing this to Spike Rush and Deathmatch, I think this is by far the best casual mode they've made for the game so far, and I really hope this becomes a permanent mode because it was a lot of fun. Last but not least, they have some penalties for AFKing in competitive games. This is really good. I'm glad to see this. And they've also made it so that all sprays will now be destroyed on round start, which is really good because sprays have been used to distract people and they don't really have any place in the actual round of the game, as far as I'm concerned. So that is patch 2.03. I really like what I'm seeing in this patch. I was hoping for more substantial Yoru buffs, maybe shortening the delay until his flash pops after it hits the surface. But they're probably going to give him a little bit more, and they're probably taking it really slow as they're buffing him up a little bit. So that is fine by me. The Reyna changes are also pretty interesting. As someone who plays Reyna quite a bit, I am not too upset about these changes. I think they're all really good, fair changes. I'm pretty excited to try him out, and I think I'll still enjoy playing her a lot. And I think this is a pretty good attempt to balance her because it seems to me that I'll still be able to play the playstyle that I wanted to with her, but other people won't feel quite as oppressed by Reynas, especially Smurf Reynas. Let me know what you guys think of this patch down in the comments. Do you guys like Escalation mode? Like I said, I think it's the best casual mode they've added so far, and they should keep it around. Once again, my name is Oxy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.